Developer Arkane Lyon's PlayStation 5 timed exclusive Deathloop is an incredibly fun and rewarding experience. I recently both beat and platinumed Deathloop, and I have to say that on a gameplay, narrative, and presentation perspective, I was enthralled the whole way through. Deathloop asks the player to inhabit a character by the name of Colt Vaughn, who is brilliantly acted by performer Jason E. Kelly. Much like you, the player, Colt is attempting to discover why exactly he is reliving the same day over and over again in a sort of Groundhog Day type repeating day scenario on the mysterious island of Blackreef. But you discover early on that Colt's sole purpose in life appears to be to break this time loop by any means necessary. You very quickly uncover that the only way to break the loop is to kill all 9 stewards of the island within a single 24-hour time period. These 9 steward characters are known as visionaries, and they each have their own unique personalities and backstory that you slowly uncover as you investigate the island. One of the visionaries is a formidable young woman by the name of Juliana, who seeks to stop you from breaking the loop at all costs. Juliana is either AI or player controlled throughout Deathloop's incredible campaign. Whenever a Juliana character invades your timeline, a red banner will appear on screen to let you know of her arrival. Juliana blocks the exits into Colt's hidden safe house and seeks to ruin the day by murdering you before you can kill your target and escape. Actress Ozioma Akaga does an absolutely incredible job voicing Juliana as well. The constant over-the-radio banter between Colt and Juliana is one of the most entertaining parts of the experience. Their back and forth is often hilarious to listen to, but also adds tremendously to the immersiveness of the gameplay, and specifically helps to propel the story forward. There is so much great chemistry between Colt and Juliana that I was always thrilled when Juliana would suddenly chime in to roast Colt over a walkie-talkie call.
Colt, watching you bleed really makes my day.
One time is luck, not skill.
One time you remember. And you've said that same idiotic bullshit 100 times after. So, fuck you. At this point, it's skill.
Fuck your skill.
The overall mystery of the island of Blackreef and the mysteries of the loop kept me coming back for more. The visionaries are employed by a company by the name of Eon. I was constantly curious about the origins of Eon, the science behind the loop, and the history behind each of the visionaries and their relationships with each other. Eon and its associated enigmas made me nostalgic for creator Damon Lindelof's ABC TV series Lost, and the time I spent pondering the history of the shadowed organization known as the Dharma Initiative.
Hello? Anybody home? Phoenix exclusive. You want some kind of password, maybe?
Deathloop requires you to become a sort of supernatural detective in order to close the loop appropriately. There are 4 time periods that you can play: morning, noon, afternoon, and evening. And there are 4 large Blackreef regions that you can enter at any of the 4 time periods in order to investigate the mystery. As you might expect, each region changes pretty drastically based on the time of day, which means that there is a lot to uncover in each region. As you discover how to close the loop within one day, you piece together the intriguing plot and backstory that glues it all together. It's truly a testament to Arkane's excellent game design that I felt like the narrative was extremely well paced, despite the naturally disjointed nature of how they presented the story. By the end of the game, I only wished that we were given more supplementary information in regards to each of the visionaries. I felt as though Arkane could have gone a bit further in developing some of these truly interesting people. Colt and Juliana were relatively well-developed characters, but the other 7 main characters felt slightly more shallow. I also felt as though the game ended a little bit too abruptly. The very end scenes could have used a tad more work and fine-tuning prior to the game hitting prime time. This lack of ending detail, and my want for more supplementary history on the game's main characters, makes me long for the possibility of a Deathloop DLC in the near future. The story of Deathloop takes place in a very stylish 1960s time period with architecture, clothing, and music that nail this aesthetic. The original soundtrack is absolutely remarkable. One particular tune called Ode to Somewhere from the Fristad Rock region of the game represents the 60s style perfectly. Ode to Somewhere also harkens back to time loop movie Groundhog Day's wake-up tune We Got You Babe by Sonny and Cher. Just as Bill Murray wakes up every day to the refrain of I Got You Babe in Groundhog Day, by Deathloop's end, you will also have heard Ode to Somewhere's unique melodical refrain so often that it will undoubtedly be ingrained on the brain. The musical score by composer Tom Salta also greatly captures the essence of 1960s spy movies, such as a Sean Connery starring James Bond film, for instance. I truly adore the music of this game. The Visionaries are protected by workers called Eternalists that appear to be in a constant state of partying, but that ultimately are tasked with helping Juliana to protect the loop. The costumes and masks worn by both Eternalists and Visionaries alike are unique, and much like the roots of the story and animations, feel very pulp-esque in nature. Although the 9 main characters carry an air of realism, the animation for gun blasts and blood splatter are beautifully stylized in a mixture of campiness and pulp. Much like the music, the game's look and feel often reminds me of an exciting 1960s spy or action movie. Similar to Arkane Lyon's recent games catalog, the gameplay is gracefully fluid and violent. It empowers the player with fantastical abilities like short-range teleportation, and the ability to link enemies together so that when you damage one adversary, you damage them all. The game favors both stealth and a more bold, guns-a-blazing approach, and you can customize Colt very specifically so that you might play exactly the way you wish to play. Each of the meticulously designed guns available in the Blackreef arsenal feels gloriously unique. Arkane's attention to the capabilities of the PS5's DualSense controller is some of the best adaptive trigger support I've seen so far on the PS5. The handling of a shotgun, pistol, hand cannon, or rifle each feels genuinely diverse. Invading other players' games as Juliana is also intensely fun. It is relatively easy to upgrade her abilities to a very capable level. Once you invade a game, Arkane gives the player a ton of freedom on how to approach the situation. You can go at your Colt target head on, toy with your Colt, or even cooperate with them if you really want to. Arkane was careful to always ensure that you can only invade a player or be invaded at the start of when Colt enters any particular map that Visionaries are present. This avoids the issue of having a Juliana player character enter your game, bar the exits, and kill you at the last second just as you're about to leave the game after completing your mission safely. Therefore, it was ensured that I never felt like I had to take my game offline due to a perceived lack of fairness. Even as I was trophy hunting for the Platinum Trophy, I kept my game online to allow for player invasion. It was always thrilling when the red banner came up letting me know that Juliana was entering the session because I never knew what type of Juliana I was going to get. My only concern when playing as Juliana, though, is the length of time it can take to invade a session. Sometimes the wait could be upwards of 5 minutes. This is another reason that I hope for Arkane to build and release some Deathloop DLC. I'd love for them to create more reasons for players to play as Colt after the main campaign is complete. Without enough players playing as Colt, I imagine it will be difficult to sustain a Juliana player base. Perhaps they should release a DLC pack that encourages repeated or even more creative ways to break the loop in order to encourage a constant Colt player foundation. Ultimately, I'm enamored with Deathloop. The island of Blackreef's mysteries had me consistently intrigued. The fluid gunplay and magical abilities truly made my Colt and Juliana feel powerful. The incredible musical soundtrack and score, and developer Arkane Lyon's attention to detail in their level design makes Deathloop feel like an immersive, living 1960s world. The unbound chemistry between Colt and Juliana presented by voice actors Jason E. Kelly and Ozioma Akaga was palpable. I absolutely love this game, and I'm so glad that, despite publisher Bethesda's purchase by Microsoft, I had the privilege to play it on my PlayStation 5.